morning. It's Monday, May 8th. And yesterday I had a lot of fun messing around with my rant and kind of telling a story that was really more of a joke than a true story. But today I can't avoid it. Much as I would like to avoid it, I can't avoid it. Because once again, we have a mass shooting. And once again, it's in Texas. In the Texas Mall, 9 people dead. And why? Why does this continue to happen? Because we are a nation that is crumbling, that is torn apart, that our diversity is challenged every single day. And the one thing that bothers me more than anything else is that the majority of the people are against this gun violence. They're against the owning of guns. But we have staunch conservatives that believe in the Second Amendment. They believe that the well-regulated militia wording allows people to have guns, allows everybody to have guns. It's insanity. It's insanity, and it is going to destroy this country if we don't get this shit under control. Why do people have to have guns? Why does a majority of people living in certain states believe that they need to have a gun to protect themselves? They believe they have to have a gun to protect themselves because other people have guns to protect themselves. That's nonsense. Pure, unadulterated nonsense. And we as a nation can't look at this. We futzing around in Congress about all kinds of things. We're worrying about the rights of the fetus. We're worrying about abortion. But we're not worrying about the 40,000 people who are being killed every year. The mass shootings that are growing like weeds in a garden. Why? Why have we ended up in this place? This was once a wonderful country. I don't know what's happened to us. Well, I do know what's happened to us. The United States is the country with the most civilian-held firearms. We are only 5% of the world's population, but we account for 46% of the global civilian gun ownership. Think about that. We own 46% of the guns in the world. We have 120 guns for every 100 people living in this country. Is that insanity or what? Do we need that many guns? You have these firearms around, and then you get a couple of people here and there every single day who have their hands on a gun, and then they go bonkers for some reason or other. Much of it occurs in neighborhoods that are relatively poor and people are struggling with their lives, and then all of a sudden they snap because they can't face the realities of day-to-day living. And then there are many others who are brought up and raised to believe in certain situations that really shouldn't exist. And then we have a huge percentage of the population that is worried about this country turning into a non-white, non-Christian nation in about 30 or 40 years. So we have all of these things weighing on our society, right? And much of this was brought to the forefront by the presidents that preceded Joe Biden. Barack Obama, who was a good man, an innocent man. But because he was not white, he caused some turmoil in this country that carried over with the election of President Trump, who changed everything and radically incited racism with his actions of preventing people from coming into this country, blocking Muslims, talking about the Mexican. All of these things built up in our society, a society which is not equipped mentally for all of the guns that they own. And with the rise of the militia-type groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Takers, all of those things affect the thinking patterns in this country. Now, I can't point to any one of those factors as being the primary and the only thing that we have to worry about. The primary problem is that we have too many people with guns and too many people with problems with guns, and that we have no real structure to set up a safe gun environment. The mere fact that we allow anybody to buy an AR-15 over the counter in many parts of this country is crazy. And what's even crazier is when there's gun violence in a given state, like Kentucky or Tennessee, do they think about banning guns? Do they think about doing something that will control the gun violence? No. What they think about is relaxing the rules so that more people can have guns to protect themselves and put more possible mass shooters out on the streets of this country. So that's what we're faced with. So it's a whole hodgepodge of different things that go into the gun violence. But one of the crucial parts of it is those who are in charge, those people who have been voted in to represent our populations and to help protect the people in their regions, have ignored their responsibilities and have allowed the gun proliferation to continue. So maybe, in my mind, the real culprits in this gun violence situation are those elected officials that we, the people, have elected. If we had a requirement for every single candidate to state his position on guns and gun violence when he's trying to run for office, maybe they would realize that 60 to 70% of this nation is not in favor of somebody who is in favor of allowing everybody to have a gun. Maybe that would be a controlling measure. Maybe if the parties took action against gun violence, it would go away. But they won't, because they believe that the citizenry of this country is in favor of guns, and that is not true. It may be true in these little pockets around the country, and it may be true in all the red states as opposed to the blue state, but it is not true for any clear-thinking citizen. And so there I leave you with that, with the thoughts that our politicians, our leaders, are inept, and they cater to a small percentage of the population that is very dangerous. And maybe the penalties and maybe the rules of gun ownership are too lenient. But I can't stand seeing this news flash every single day about another 8 or 10 or 15 people's lives affected by gun violence. We have to figure out a way to stop this truly major pandemic. That's what gun violence is. It's a major pandemic. I leave you with that thought this morning. Bye.